Okay. Good evening, and welcome to the Omega Files. I'm your host, Dr. Freedom, and tonight we're going to take a look at a blast from the past, a long-lost episode that has been resurrected through the miracle of animation, thankfully not by Disney, Power of the Daleks. Okay, well, in order to save a little time, because we got a lot of people here tonight, I'm going to ask you for your intro, and please also give your opening thoughts on this particular piece of work, all right? So let's start up in here in the one corner with AJ. Go ahead, take it.
Hey guys from Down Under, and I thought this was a brilliant animation. They did really well with the animation, except for some parts like the walking and whatnot. But overall, the reflections, the Daleks, the console looked brilliant. So I thought, top notch. They almost recreated it perfectly.
Okay, let's move on to William.
Hey, how you doing, everybody? Well, the thing is, rumors have been circling for quite a while that either something was found or something was going to be done to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Patrick Troughton. Then we heard about the news of it being animated, and of course we saw some scenes on YouTube like that. It really piqued my curiosity. I have heard the audio version of it, narrated by Tom Baker. And of course, I've seen the telesnaps version of it. But I gotta give the props to this. This is a great anime. Yeah. We can say that. We can nitpick about the art like that, but it's not horrible in any way. Considering I have seen other worse art, but you gotta give props that somebody made the effort to put the money up, for this thing can be done. Now, whether we're gonna find out sooner or later, how much money the DVD sales are going to do, for they could do other animated lost episodes, including some that has not been animated, but there's episodes in existence. We wait and find out. Hopefully in a way, this is a start of something completely different for us fans of Classic Who could start finishing off our collection once and for all.
Yeah, because, to me personally, this should have been done a long time ago. We're talking at least, a decade ago, I think. Because, in our heart of hearts, as much as we'd like to see episodes get recovered, what it was the likelihood. We got really, really lucky when Web of Fear and, Enemy of the World popped back up. And, sure, later down the line, yeah, you may have episodes turn up. There's still a slight teeny little chance. But come on, for now, the animation's brilliant. It still fills the hole until such time as maybe some of it pops back up again, and then you can release the stuff that you've recovered. But to me, I think it was well done. Okay, let's get to Harry before I go crazy here. Go ahead, Harry.
I went and saw this at the movie theaters. Loved it. Read the book. Heard about it. To me, it's the next best thing to have the actual story around. I prefer the actual story, but until it comes out, till they find it, as you said, sir, I'll stick with the animation. We got no choice, and I got no problem with it. They did a superb job of it.
All righty. Joining us for the first time tonight, let's go with Jason. Go ahead and give us your take on this.
Hello, guys. This is Jason from Iowa. Definitely a great animation. Definitely enjoyed the background. Definitely enjoyed the animation. I'll explain later, but I definitely enjoyed it. I loved it. It was perfect.
Okay, Philip.
Hello, Phil from Londinium. Power of the Daleks. I've waited for years to see this in one form or another, so I was quite happy to have it animated. There are some glaring errors in it visually, but that's besides the point. It's a great story. It's really nice to see visualization of the background sets. As well as the main players in it, and it's a fast-moving story, and the Daleks are great in it as well. I couldn't recommend the story more now. Animation.
Yeah, I did notice. Yeah, there are a few errors here and there, but at the same time, if I remember right, according to the original story we heard, this was supposed to be out for Christmas, and then somebody came up with the idea. Wait a minute, this is also the 50th anniversary of the year that it's being released. Can we have it out for that? And so I guess some things got a little bit rushed in order to get it finished. And that's how come you have a couple little spots there where you have people wearing the wrong clothes and whatnot. So we got to forgive them that little bit right there. They were just in a hurry to get it out just in time for the original release date. So okay, on to you, Graham. Go ahead.
Yeah, how we doing, folks? Well, we've waited a long time for this, and yeah, it didn't disappoint. You now have that void in the collection filled. You have the only ever missing regeneration story. Pat Troughton now has that void there filled. Is it the best animation? No, but at the same time, it has a unique charm in itself. As Adrian and a few of the other guys alluded to, that there is some issues with the animation matching up to the sound and whatnot. But like you said, Brian, it was rushed to meet a November the 5th deadline. So all in all, good to have it in the collection. And, it's better than telesnaps. Go buy it, people.
Okay, next up, Susan.
Hello, Susan Lesterson here. I'm just messing with my little friend that I found in the space shuttle and buried in the ground, and I'm having trouble breathing because of all the mercury on the planet Vulcan, the original planet Vulcan, not the one that the pointy-eared dudes from Star Trek come on. Anyway, this guy will be the salvation of everybody. He's going to provide us with extra energy and all sorts of good stuff. And I'm sure that there will be absolutely no problems with this alien form. So just be sure that here in our labs we're doing the very best work to make this available, and forget the revolutionaries, the rebels.
Yes, it will definitely increase our mining capabilities as well as give us unlimited rice pudding. Okay, on to Beefhead.
Yes, hello, I'm Beef, and if you don't know by now, where the bloody hell have you been? Yes, let's make Vulcan great again. The significance of this story, like Graham said, and everyone's already said, it's the regeneration, it's Troughton's first story, and it's a fantastic story. It deserves to be there in some form. The likelihood of getting it back now is slim to nil. The animation, I do like it. It's a very evocative of the time. It's similar to what you would have had anyway, produced at the time that you got the episode. Yeah, there are flaws and drawbacks to it. It was turned around in a very quick amount of time. But also what you need to remember, this was a testing for the BBC. This is by no means Disney and Pixar. You're never going to get, Pat Troughton looking something similar to Lightning McQueen. Just enjoy it for what it is, guys. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, and next up, Texas Tim. Go ahead.
Well, I pretty much could do that. I don't think you can ever overstate the importance of this episode. This is the first major game changer in the history of Doctor Who, where they've changed the lead actor, and it might not have worked. You never know. This is why we're here today, 50 years later, talking about it, because it became something Doctor Who does. Not only do you change the companions or the guest characters, you change the lead actor occasionally, and it just keeps going. It's an amazing thing that they finally decided to do something with this story, because it's good. It's something it's like you said, Brian, they should have been doing this years ago. The first animated episodes we got to fill in some blanks was back in 2006 with the Invasion, and they were quite good. They really made it. It was a special thing. Suddenly you had some animated episodes to fill in the blanks for stories that were missing a couple, and it was and why they didn't keep doing that instead of letting the DVD range dwindle down to nothing, when they could have been doing this the whole time. And like it's been said, it's an experiment. Hopefully it works. Hopefully they'll do this with all the missing episodes at some point, because we deserve to see these episodes. These are great episodes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because these are like big missing chapters, from the very dawn of Doctor Who, all the way back in the day. Like I love the death that they get some of those Hartnell episodes done as well. Come on, like Marco Polo, for crying out loud. Crusade, all those other missing ones. I mean. So, okay, but let's open up the floor, shall we? All right, let's go for...
I am your servant.
Okay. let's start with the character of Lesterson. Who wants to chime in on this crazy dude?
I do. I think he's a standout person in the whole episode. He's serial. He's a standout character because he just shows so many emotions throughout the whole thing, and that's how you would actually react to something like the Daleks. In actuality, you'd be like, oh wow, I found a new sort of thing. They're going to do wonders for us. And then you realise they are the terror of beyond terrors, and then you lose your mind about it. And that's what I like about Lesterson.
I think it's funny. He slowly goes mad over the course of 6 episodes. You think he just went through the election in the U.S. because that's the way a lot of people are acting.
He's a man purely driven by science and oblivious to everything on that goes around it, and they can only see what the next thing is and the next thing is what it, and he does that fantastically. His descent into sort of the realization that all the warnings that were put in front of him have come to fruition is great. If I did have to lay one criticism of the animation, when he does sort of like finally fall apart, you don't necessarily get the facial expression into it that you would have had with the actual video, but to be honest with you, the audio carries that over, and that's purely down to the performance given, which sadly we don't have.
I like your point that the animation is evocative of the animation of the time. It's almost if you're watching a 60s cartoon. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's a good thing.
You see a man who only sees what he wants to see. A man is so obsessed with his scientific work that when it finally comes out that the Daleks have been playing him for all along, it's just basically, it loses it. He can't take it. And he just collapses and ends up being another extermination victim.
But even though he was very obsessive with the Daleks, how much of a servant they could be to him and to the planet when it came to doing the job like that, you gotta also realize that he was hoodwinked by other people, because when another scientist was shot, he was told that person was in recovery in sick bay like that, without realizing till later on that person was killed. And that started right there his downfall. You could say his downfall on it, because that right there he started believing what the doctor was telling him about the Daleks. So that one incident, and of course him being betrayed, set up his downfall.
What was the name of the chick that played his assistant who was part of the rebellion?
Jan Lee. What a skiving, manipulative, fucking little bitch. That's another good thing about the serial. It's the political overarch of it as well.
Daleks aren't the real baddies in this; the humans are.
Yeah.
Also, one quick thing before I move on to AJ here, go back to Remy.
Yep.
The one thing that really was kind of a bit of foreshadowing that we can call it now that we look back on this 50 years later. How many of you folks kind of recognize that poor argument Lesterson put up in that very last scene? You can't kill me.
I created you.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to AJ.
I was going to say, I found Lesterson kind of a dunce. Like, he's sitting there watching the Daleks. 3 of them are chanting together, "We will get our power." And he's thinking, I wonder what they're talking about. And he's just watching it over and over again. And the other part is he reminded me a bit of the Doctor from season 9 of the new series, the one who created the Sandman machine.
Oh, Reese Smith? Yeah.
He looked a lot like him. He even sounded a lot like him, I thought, with the glasses and everything. So that's what reminded me of it.
Don't worry, AJ. There's nothing in your eye.
No. Maybe they modeled that character after Lesterson. We don't really know. They didn't mention it, but you're right. There is a bit of a coincidental
resemblance.
Not to mention the reusing of a certain line in Victory of the Daleks a couple years ago.
Exactly.
Yes.
I am your servant.
Yep.
No, he said, "I will be a soldier."
But still, it was kind of alluding back to that, at least in my mind.
Yeah.
Lesterson, to me, was the quintessential mad scientist. I mean, he was like that Frankenstein, Victor Frankenstein, building the monster and loving it and not giving it up and going for it.
Well, I'm gonna have to make a little disagreement on that, because Victor Frankenstein created the monster. That's why he keeps claiming that now he know how he feels to be God, so he created life. This didn't create the Daleks. He just discovered them and gave them the power to animate them. Because he didn't realize till later on that there was something living inside those casings. He thought they were just robots that he could use them as workers.
But he did cross a line that he shouldn't have crossed because it was just his own avarice and everything like that led to it. Yeah, to a certain degree, he did redeem himself by offering himself up at the end.
But he was thinking about the good of the colony, though. If you think about it, he wasn't very.
But like Tim said, this is a whole episode of people basically being out for their own motivational gains and screwing over everyone to get what they want at the end of the day in one way, shape, or form.
Just touching on Jan Lee again, the episode where she copped it, where she died, was that actually shown?
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah. Well, I must have missed that. It must have been one of the bumps and miss it thing, because I cut to her scene and she's lying on the floor, and I'm going,
the weirdest thing I remember about Jan Lee, because after she hit the floor, anyone else notice she was barefoot? I'm like, wait a minute, did they blow her out of her shoes? I'm like,
too cheap to draw some shoes.
Yeah. Oh no, there was a shoe there.
They blew her out of her shoes. That's the impression I got.
Oh, Ben and Polly were cool too.
Yeah, they even got to take their holidays in animation form.
All right. Later down the line here, but yeah, that was one thing I wanted to bring up. Ben and Polly's reaction to the Doctor's quote-unquote rejuvenation. I thought that was pretty nifty stuff, little back and forth between them, because Ben's like, I'm not buying it. Come on, how can he be the Doctor? You can't wear the ring. You're not him, blah, blah. And meanwhile, she's like, that's the Doctor. That's the Doctor.
Yeah. Exactly. It was laid out when they wrote the characters. They even stated it in the information packet before the movie. Ben was always the realist, the one who believed that everything's got to be laid out, fact and everything. He just couldn't accept it. Polly was a bit more open-minded, more willing to understand, more willing to believe. It's what made them such an interesting pair during their short period of time on board the TARDIS.
But it's the thing with the companions as well. The companion is always supposed to be the audience's sort of key into it, the contact with it. And this is the first time that they had done something like this. So you have to explain to all these kids who watch the show from its inception and everything like that, well, adults as well, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're swapping everything around. We're changing your main guy and everything like that. Of course, they're going to be mistrustful of it. They're not going to get it. So that's a brilliant way to bring it along.
Yep.
Sorry, Tim. Oh.
There's an old interesting read-up in an old newspaper that said that when it first aired out, a lot of people weren't happy with the fact that Patrick Troughton was a doctor, and they thought it was a silly characterization. They basically panned it like we're doing these days to Doctor Who at the moment.
No way is that ever changed.
Changes then, does it? Yeah.
Or how many here I actually got a little giggle out of the one scene with the Doctor and Polly. Lesterson, listen. Lester, listen. I can't even do that shit. Lesterson, listen. Lester.
What about when the Doctor's sitting there, he's got like a bunch of food and they go nuts? He goes, yes, certainly, crackers.
Yeah.
Sitting there eating his banana. That was foul to it.
The fruit is bugged.
In regards to what Beef was saying, I don't think you can overstress the importance of the fact they went with an actor that was entirely different from William Hartnell, because that was a bit of genius on their part, because they made him completely different. They could have went the easy route and got like somebody that looked like him, somebody that wore the wig and did the same kind of mannerisms, but no, they went with somebody with their own different personality, and that's why we're here today talking about it. Because that became the model of the program, where you could change the lead actor anytime you needed to.
Luckily for them, in that first story with Troughton, they did use the Daleks for people to familiarize that this still is Doctor Who, and they made the Daleks.
Mm-hmm. Well, not only that, look at how amazingly brilliant Troughton is from the get-go. I mean, this is where they build up the way he does things, because he goes throughout the episode, he listens to people, he's like mentally taking notes. He's not being all up in their business or anything, although he does impersonate the dead guy. But I mean, he's a lot more laid back. He waits until he gets all the information he needs, and then he does what he needs to do.
That's what I like about him. He's sharper. He's quick-minded, but he acts like a buffoon behind.
He acts dumb. Yeah, he acts dumb.
That's it. You don't get the payoff to why he's mucking around with acoustics until you realise that that's the key for opening the cell door. Yeah. He's always a step ahead. But yeah, no, but also the thing is, the mistrust ends, but I think by about by the end of the second episode, by which time as an audience you're already involved and you're along for the races. So from that point of view, it's sort of I wish the same was adopted these days in certain quarters, but you never get past it.
All right, how many here? A trivia question: How many here? Raise your hands. Have had a chance to peruse this book? In audio form or otherwise?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, not yet.
If you have not, I highly, highly, highly recommend it because
I agree with that.
Troughton, when he walked into this role, he was scared shitless because he's like, "Oh, great! Here's this show that now has an iconic status with all these young people, and I'm going to probably be the guy who freaking kills it." That was his attitude coming on, and he was scared. He thought he's going to, "Okay, I'm going to be the guy who kills Doctor Who."
Yeah,
and they go a lot into that book, and it is very, very well done. Especially if you get the one where it's read by his son,
beautiful
spoken version. Yeah, it is very, very good, very well done, and it covers a lot of this, very closely. So,
triple the thrill for your pleasure.
Yeah. One thing I would suggest is you enjoy the DVD, and you want to do some extra. Get some extra material. It's just my own suggestion, but if you can afford it, get the John Peel book because it's very good. Fills in some details. I got it back when it first came out, and I'd heard about Power of the Daleks. I'd heard about Evil of the Daleks. Heard about Dalek Master Plan. But I've not seen any of the stuff. So I had to, for a long time, go just by the book itself. I'll say this. As good as the book is, the show's even better.
I have a question for you, Harry. Since you read that book, does that book reveal how the Daleks knew that the second Doctor was the Doctor?
I had to go back in and look at it again, William. It's been a long time since I've read it. Right now, I'm trying to work my way through Marco Polo for next week's podcast with Susan.
No, because I know I'm going to answer too because it was revealed in Big Finish that those Daleks were the Daleks that faced off with the Eighth Doctor in the time of the Daleks one. That they in the end of the story they're the one that ends up invoking. So I thought maybe in his book something might have been added that was different about it. So
no, not that time.
Like I said, what I like to think of when they came to that moment was, what if these Daleks came from a time period after they've already encountered Patrick Troughton's Doctor? And there's at least some record of it.
They had records of him. And they got records. We all know that their sucker hand acts as a scanner. So when he's there, they can scan him and recognize him as being the Doctor because they got details of him on their records.
So that's the way I like to think of it. So it throws a little wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey into this one there. Okay, so here's my original notes just for the hell of it. See, Lesterson, poor dupe, looks and acts like a chronic masturbator. Okay, let's go to another character I found intriguing. Let's go for the governor, who I called AKA Greedy Moron. I love how he thinks he's going to cash in on the Daleks. Meanwhile, his own deputy governor, what's his name? Broggan. Yeah, meanwhile, Broggan's in charge of the freaking rebels. Oh, man. Let's go into this. That's one thing I love was, as much as the Daleks are evil, twisted, and all that, the humans in the story were just as freaking bad.
This is the first Dalek serial not written by Terry Nation. This was written by David Whitaker, the former script editor, and he did a really good job of doing a whole lot of new things because it's a brand new Doctor. Each of the companions gets a week off. He has to juggle all these things to make this story work, and he does it so well because it's a 6-part story, but there's no padding at all. It just keeps moving. What he's done is create a little political drama where the humans are really the bad guys. The Daleks are there, but they're not really the villains of the piece, are they? I mean,
they're just taking advantage of the situation.
Yeah.
I know, I love this. Yeah, I had the greedy moron was the governor. Let me see. Yeah, Janley was the crooked bitch.
Manipulated bitch. Yeah, man, I hated her. Oh.
Yeah, Brogan, the creepy conniver.
She was probably given head on the side as well.
Also, another part I liked was the doctor with the nifty little, hints with the recorder. Wrong, or whatever that sound was he made with it, or nope, don't talk about that, Ben. Shut up. Peep, and shut it. And then Malmar, who to me showed a little too much affection towards that Dalek gun.
One can know. Oh yeah.
And that Dalek spaceship must have been transcendental. Must have been bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. Because
that's what I was thinking too. It's like, my God, how much crap is in that tiny little capsule? It must be dimensionally transcendental or some shit. I'm not kidding.
Well, if it's from the future, they would have had that technology by then, wouldn't they?
Yeah, they would have done.
So.
Okay, floor is wide open. Anyone else they want to throw anything out?
Ben playing the recorder upside down. That was funny. Sorry, Graham.
No. I'm trying to remember that part. I need to quit drinking.
That never happens.
I've got to give props to Bragan, to be honest with you, because you just get that feeling of absolute scumbag with him, to be honest with you, all the way through. That literally he'll tread on his own mother's neck to get where he wants to go. He's touted the rebels and pushed them up every way to get him to the top of the tree. And by the time he's there, it's like, right, okay, that's it now. If I don't bump them off tomorrow morning, they're going to be after me. So you get this. He does a fantastic portrayal, and you get it purely in the voice. He's got a fantastic voice as well that just carries over the idea of the menace and the evil behind it all. And obviously, we know where he shows up in the Tom Baker era. So, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
The one that had the short end of the stick was the original examiner who got bumped off in the first episode.
Yeah, in the swamp. The hell, man.
Badges tend to get you a long way, really.
Yeah.
You don't need credentials, just a badge. I like
that. The little pin button like you used to get like back in the 80s. Now they have them all the way back in the 60s, but examiner, afford all access. I'm like, is that all you need? I'm like, damn.
I agree with you, Beef, though, with regards to Bragan, man. That part towards the end where he's pleading there at the intercom for the Daleks to obey him. You're like, ooh.
The scary part is, talk about one of your easiest cosplay props to make. All you need is a simple button making kit. You can make that pretty easy,
Yeah. I'm not voting. Yeah.
I'm a bit surprised that the humans that on that planet have not heard of the Daleks at all. That considering in the future stories in different time areas, you always see them conquering other planets and all that.
Yeah, but we don't know what order the Dalek stories go in from their point of view, to be honest, right? Think about it.
And also where Vulcan is too in the galaxy. It could be in a part of the galaxy they haven't reached yet.
Yeah, that's true.
Didn't they steal that from Star Trek? Just kidding.
I think this was out a few months before the first episode of Trek even aired, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
A year.
And yet some Trekkies will have you believe that they stole that.
You mean like the Borg? I mean Cybermen. Ooh.
I don't know if this is something that you want to get onto, Brian, but I mean, watching what we've seen anyway with the animation, it's black and white. Now there is a color version out there as well, but I haven't watched the color version, but personally, I don't think I really want to watch the color version after watching the black and white. Because the one thing you do get with this is and I think it's also to do with the period of when it was aired, the type of story it is as much as it is political backstabbing, there's a hell of a lot of suspense to it. It's a very suspense-laden story. Like Tim says, there's no padding. There's always something going on, and the black and white really adds atmosphere, especially when you have the Daleks sort of producing more of each other and everything like that, and you have the idea of the conveyor belt, more of them rolling off, and when they're all clustering together, I think you may lose some of that in colour. I can't say 100% because I've not seen it, but you certainly get that in black and white. I don't know how everyone else is.
Well, I would agree with you because I've seen a few, sorry, Graham, a couple of stills from the color version, and it doesn't look that good at all. It looks like somebody went in and colored it, so...
in the lines.
I'll concur with you too. I will say this though, when it comes to the colorization, I think the only decent thing about the colorization is the Daleks. The rest looks a bit iffy. So,
yeah. The incidental music for the serial helps a lot as well because it gives it that airy feel to it when you're watching it, when you hear the different sound effects.
It's the same music they use in the original Dalek serial, the Daleks or the mutants or whatever. The very second serial.
Sorry, Tim.
It's the original audio, yeah, because luckily...
Yeah, they used the original stuff from people had recorded over the years. They saved it. That's one of the things that they used when they did this animated thing. They used the original scripts. They used the original soundtrack for it.
That's true. You have to give a shout out to the original Doctor Who fans that took the time to record this off of their television set way before you had a VCR to do the same thing. And to be fair, that's why you actually get to do this today because they recorded the audio. There is no completely missing episode of Doctor Who thanks to those 4 or 5 people that recorded them.
Yeah, those old reel-to-reel guys, we got to hand it to them, especially, when they showed how they actually set it up. Because I think that was in one of the different little documentary things they had where they actually showed the way the guy hooked it up. All it was a little, black and white TV. The speaker was, on the side, and he had the microphone hanging literally over the side of the TV, over the speaker. And that's got really goddamn good audio for doing that. It is.
Also, you got to give the guys credit at the restoration team because they've continued to improve this over the years. Remember, Will mentioned the first time they released this as an audio was with Tom Baker narration, which wasn't really that listenable. And then after that, they did one with Annika Wills narrating it as recently as the last decade, and it was cleaned up quite a bit. And then now you've got this, which is it's pretty much flawless audio. I
saw it in the theater, and it was pristine audio, well balanced, really impactful, deep dark basses, and really high. I mean, the whole range was there. It wasn't just like a tinny sound. It was a completely restored and remastered soundtrack. It was lovely. And it was gorgeous in the big screen.
And all you folks watching this out there, you'll notice that in equivalent to all 21st century reboots, we have gender swapped Lesterson. Okay. All right. So, okay. Anything else you want to bring up? We'll wrap this up. And we'll rate it. And we'll put it to bed for now. All right.
Go ahead, AJ. Go ahead, AJ.
I was going to say 2 funny things. The animation for Patrick Troughton filling his own face, which was basically like that. And in the lab equipment, they had lava lamps, which I thought was kind of cool. You see that? The lava lamps just sitting there just undulating. I thought it was pretty cool. I don't know if that was really like that or not.
Do you think that those are on the actual episode just because they thought
they would have been. They would have used all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. It was like in a perspex box with a computer or something.
Yeah, back then, just about anything could be a prop, including lava lamps. So it's not unbelievable.
Here's a question: if this thing does well on sales, should the next thing the anime see something that's a few episodes exist and they could animate it, finish it off, or it should be something that has no episodes in existence?
I think the only one that's like that is the Crusades, right?
Well, there's some. The Wheel in Space has an episode 2 in existence, and then of course, I think the Celestial Toymaker has an episode in existence,
and
then they could fix that Underwater Menace because
I think
DVD was. Oof.
I think it'd be more prudent to do all the ones that have no episodes existing and work your way through the ones.
If we go with the idea of no episodes available, then I know which story I want. Story from the Deep.
Yeah, me too. Spot on.
Well,
just about everybody's want list as far as Troughton stories concerned. I mean, nothing against power, nothing against evil, but people want Fury from the deep.
Yeah, that'd be good. That's what I was saying. I think that you do maybe one or two of the historicals that has no episode, like Marco Polo and the Highlander.
Yeah.
I was a bit, yeah. No, to help with that, my vote's for the Highlander. Pregators, motherfucker. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to give them props for doing this, because I didn't believe it at first. I thought there's no way they're going to animate a completely missing episode story, because who knows who's going to buy that. And look how wrong I was, and I'm pleased to be wrong, because I'm happy that we have this. It's an amazing thing.
Yeah.
And the thing is that we didn't know anything about this. There was I don't know, on purpose leak, you know, like we had with Deadpool, an on purpose by accident leak of, like, what was it, a couple of minutes?
Yeah.
And then BBC pulled this son of a gun off of YouTube as quickly as you get, and then, you know,
That's fine, mate. That's not real.
Yeah. But this is the guys they've got to do it. They're not animators in the traditional sense. They're all comic book artists, the guys that they got to do this. So I suppose that the medium, yes, it's suitable for the time, but it's also, you know, in their wheelhouse. So, you know, if you're coming in expecting to find something like, you know, He-Man Masters of the Universe or you know, or something like that, you're not going to get, it's not going to be Disney. Do you know what I mean? It is very much a comic book style. It's what you had at the time, and that's probably why it turns around as quick as it is, because it is done in that sort of, like, if you remember the original sort of when they did the Star Trek cartoons back in the day, there is a certain amount similar to that, but going back, say, for argument's sake, you know, a few years. But you know, this is, I think, fan power sort of with regards to the show in action as well, that the acclaim for what was leaked and what came out and the response with it was, well, you like it, okay, this is going to happen. There was the announcement rather than the whole thing being kept under wraps. And then the BBC were under the gun. They had a duty then to keep up on what they said, that we were going to get this. If the response is going to be good enough, then I really do have faith that we will say more. And there does need to be.
Yeah. Also, how many here saw that fan-made, you know, the remade version of Power?
Oh, the reimagined one.
Yeah, the reimagined one, and then all of a sudden, it was gone.
Yeah, I still don't understand it, because now that this thing has been released on DVD and has aired on TV like that, I don't understand why the reimagined has not been put back on YouTube.
Because it wasn't made by them. It wasn't authorized by the Terry Nation Estate either. That was completely unauthorized.
It's unusual, considering Nick Briggs and other people who does Doctor Who was in that episode.
Yeah.
That's a good question. Do you think they had to negotiate with the estate of Terry Nation to put this thing about, even though he didn't write the story, and they still own the Daleks, I guess. So do you think they had to go through a few hoops with them just to get this done?
They should have just asked the family of Ray Cusick.
Well, they did actually give him a credit finally. I didn't notice that, you know, for designing the actual Dalek. I thought that was great, because a lot of you people do not know this, especially you Who fans, but the Dalek you see on screen to this very day was based off the work of Raymond Cusick, not Terry freaking Nation. His version of the Dalek looked nothing like the Dalek that went on screen, and has remained on screen in any, you know, in variants ever since. That was all Ray Cusick, baby. All he got was 150 pounds and a pat on the back that week. That was it.
Yep.
I knew about Cusick's work. I read about some of the stuff they've done over the years, but still, it's a shame the man never got full credit for everything he'd done on.
Well, I think everybody knows now. I mean, it's just one of those things that everybody knows about, and it's sad that he got treated that way. But he was just a designer, and it was the writers that took all the credit or whatever. So,
yeah,
bloody writers. Okay.
Bloody bastard.
Okay, let's rate this sucker and we'll put it to bed. All I can say is hope for the future. There's a whole lot of more missing chapters of Doctor Who out there that we'd like to see come back to life, you know, or, you know, be put out. You're sure there's telesnap versions running around, but, you know, at least with the animation, it actually, you know, I got into the story a bit more. I tried watching the telesnap version of this like a year or two ago. And I was like,
exactly.
It wasn't the story. It's just, I don't know. Maybe it was the snaps just knocked my brain out. I don't know.
In my opinion, it's better as an audio story with a narrator than it is as a telesnap. You're right. Watching telesnaps is going to put you to sleep. This gives it a lot of movement. It makes it a lot better, a better visual experience.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, let's flip the order. Okay, out of 10, what do you give Power of the Daleks, Texas Tim?
I'll give the story a 10 because it's an amazing story that accomplishes a lot, and it's really why we're here today. This is the first actual game changer for Doctor Who, well, other than the creation of the Daleks, I guess. But for presentation, I'll give it a 9.
All right, Beefhead?
I'm going to have to completely mirror Tim insofar as the story is a 10. There's no padding to it. It's bang on point, and it's, you know, as a whole, this is, insofar as Doctor Who is concerned, a historical document. You know, if you're going to do more stuff like this, then give it to me now. Give it to me now. But yeah, 10 for story, 9 for presentation, only because you lose some of the facial emotive aspect to it. But hopefully the voice acting or the real life acting that you have, then it does tend to carry it through and engage you as much.
Oh, thanks, Beef. Now you got me thinking that when everything started falling apart with the Daleks running around, I halfway expected Schwarzenegger to pop around and go, Ron, get to the chopper! Okay.
It's not a tumor. Yeah.
You lack discipline. Yeah.
Okay, Susan.
Exterminate, annihilate, destroy. We will destroy all humans. I love this one. I love this one. I love the Daleks. I love their insanity. I love Lesterson's insanity. So I'll give it a 10, and I'll give the animation a 10 because I saw it on the big screen, and it did not. It didn't fall down. And people who I brought with me to see it, they didn't pass out in the middle of it, which was amazing.
Okay, Graham.
I'm going to have to concur with my drinking brethren down there. Let's say 10 in terms of the story and in terms of the plot. And with the animation, all right, the best in places, it gets a 9.
All right, Philip.
Well, because Petra Drafts is my favourite Doctor of all Doctors so far, anyway, it's always has been, I'm always going to give this a 10. I love the story. It's shown me something that I've never seen come to life, and I'm quite happy to have it. So it's a 10. All
right, Jason?
I have to give this story a 10 with great villains like Bragan, playing his mind games with the characters. Also, Lesterton, who just goes crazy later on, analyzing the Daleks. The Doctor basically building up his character. Ben, Polly, definitely great characters, companions. The animation itself, it takes a lot of build-up, especially for me being an animator myself. Animation is definitely, yeah, hopefully they continue it on later on. I definitely got to give this a 10 on this one.
Ooh.
All right. Harry?
All I got to say is this. Susan and I both saw it at the theaters, different places, but both of us saw it at the theaters. Love the story. Love the animation. 10 across the board. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Bring on more animation if that means bringing these old stories that are out there that are missing to life.
All right, William?
The story, I'm going to give it a 10. The anime, I'm going to give it an 8.5. And BBC, do some more episodes and put them on DVD. My money's right here to pay for it, right?
Do it now. Come on.
Make it a rain, Willie Star.
Do it now.
Oh, my God.
Get to the chopper. Okay. AJ.
Yeah, I'm going to do
What we want.
overall for the story and the animation, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. The animation was so detailed that I actually got to see Lesterson's face in the reflection of the Dalek's head. I thought that was just brilliant.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
What, you up here to give a rating? What the hell? Oh, okay. Get out of here, you big whale.
See you later, Moby Dick.
Okay, I'm going to give it an overall 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed the story. There were maybe 1 or 2 places where it did run a bit slow, but once again, it's a good tale of just how humans interact, Daleks interact, and things go wrong. So 9 out of 10 for me. Okay, well, folks, the Christmas holiday is upon us.
Ho, ho, ho.
We will not be rejoining you until the 26th. And that's when we're going to have a talk about a little thing called Return of Dr. Mysterio.
Ooh. Nardo. Yay!
Nardo. Yeah, I know. I've been driving people out there nuts with that. Nardo. Okay, so until then, everybody, sit back, relax, enjoy the holidays, and whatever you do, don't drive like an idiot on the ice.
Yay!
Not a problem for me.